Welcome to episode 9 of our New York-Panama cruise travel series. In this episode we call into Guatemala's largest port, Puerto Quetzal. There's nothing to see there, but the main tourist attraction is a place called Antigua Guatemala, 82 kilometres north, and it takes 1.5 hours each way to get there. So come along with myself, Daniel, Daphne, Jeff, Anna and others as we explore the city and surrounding area, and also try the local beer. 2 nights after sailing from Costa Rica, we arrived in Guatemala at 6 AM in the morning to a rainy day. Unfortunately, Susan wasn't available to come on the tour with us, but instead wandered around the port area and took some photos as a reminder that she had been in Guatemala. Later on that day, the rain cleared and it became really pleasant outside. Meanwhile, back to the main story. Our private travel group braved the rain and walked past the port tourist shops to get on the minivan for our pre-arranged tour to Antigua Guatemala. 20 minutes later, we were on our way, speeding through the countryside. Our tour took us up CA9, or Central America Route 9, toward Antigua Guatemala. When we crossed over to Highway 14, we could see the Fuego Volcano, which erupted in 2018, and then again in June 2019, just before we arrived, and again after we left in 2021. Lucky us. A lot of property was destroyed by the lava flow, including this bridge that they were rebuilding.
On your left side, where the cars are at, it was the entrance to the houses, but it destroyed all the houses.
Was anybody killed?
Yes, like 300 to 400 families died, and like 150 were missing. They never.
Road reconstruction caused traffic delays, so toilets were improvised.
Oh, God.
You do that over there. You
So
get
like
tickets.
this time,
Yeah.
this is easy for that.
Right here, coffee again, and on those hills, we got corn.
Our guide pulled over for a photo stop, which overlooked the town of Ciudad Villa. In the background is the Agua Volcano. In fact, there are some 37 volcanoes in the area, 3 currently active. Next we headed to Carolina's Textiles, 2 kilometres away, via the narrow streets of San Lorenzo El Cubo.
Very nice. He's a big. Oh. Yeah, he's a big boy. He like the cheap
Carolina's Textiles was established by Abdul Guran and Carolina Perez in 2005. It's here that you can buy handmade traditional garments which are still worn in the area. It can take up to 8 months to hand weave a single Huey Pill dress, which is a loose-fitting tunic.
3 months, but in May.
3 months. It was time for a photo op with one of the family members. Other local food specialties were also on offer. Upstairs was a coffee shop and view, but on the day we were there, the coffee shop wasn't operational, but the view of San Andres Caballos village was. Next we drove over to Antigua Guatemala, about 7 kilometres away. The bottoms of the trees are painted white to protect them against fungus and insects, in particular the leafcutter ant, which we saw in the previous episode. Antigua Guatemala was founded in the early 1500s. It's 500 metres above sea level and has a population of about 46,000. Antigua Guatemala means Old Guatemala and was the location of the third capital of Guatemala. The Caso Santo Domingo Hotel, Museum and Spa is located on the edge of town. It was originally established in 1538 when the Dominicans arrived in Guatemala. They built a monastery there, but it was destroyed in the 1773 Santa Marta earthquake. We didn't go into the hotel or spa complex, but instead focused on touring the ruins. There's the remains of a kitchen, remains of a cemetery, remains of some remains of the main cloister and foundations containing alfresco paintings and mosaics. In all, quite a bit to take in. The main temple is still used for mass celebrations on Sundays 10 to 11 a.m. In its day, this chapel was the most beautifully presented building in the complex. And now for the scary part, not for the faint-hearted, a visit to the crypt. As well as friars, quite a few distinguished people of colonial times were buried here. After the crypt experience, it was good to come back up and get a bit of fresh air. We then hopped into our van and went down to Central Park, a distance of about 700 metres. The park is the main outdoor area in town where people go to sit, stroll or meet up for an afternoon of relaxation and nice weather. From Central Park you normally have a superb view of the Antigua Volcano, which towers over Antigua, but it was cloudy that day and you couldn't really see it. Other buildings of interest at the square were the Royal Palace of the Captains General, the imposing remains of the San Jose Cathedral built in 1540, and the museum and library. From the square, we commenced our walking tour through the narrow cobblestone streets of Antigua Guatemala, passing subway and while walking toward the Santa Catalina Arch. The Santa Catalina Arch was built in 1694 and originally connected the Santa Catalina convent to a school, allowing the cloistered nuns to pass from one building to another without going onto the street. Further up is the convent of the Mercedarians. The Mercedarians are a Spanish religious group founded in 1218. They built this monastery for males only, which opened in 1767. Unfortunately, it was closed to tourists when we were there, and besides, photography isn't permitted inside. With our tour over, it was time to make our 2-hour trip back to Puerto Quetzal and our cruise ship, but not before taking a group photo. It suddenly poured down, but by then we were safely in the van on our way home.
It's really cute in the tip here.
That's nothing you should have seen. Completely crazy.
Oh, you don't doubt. It could be worse. You could be in that little vehicle. Oh, gee. Oh, look at those flowers.
La tienda.
By the time we got back to Puerto Quetzal, it was brilliant sunshine again. We had time to look at local merchandise, and I bought the t-shirt and then relaxed at the port with Captain Morgan and a beer.
Anybody want an apple? Want it? Thank you.
So it was goodbye to Guatemala and its UNESCO World Heritage Site Antigua Guatemala and its wonderful people. I hope you enjoyed following along with me on this brief trip to Guatemala, which used to be the centre of the Mayan Empire, from which the locals are descendants. In our next episode, we call into Huatelco in Mexico, so see you there.